Hello and welcome back. I'm Barbara O'Neill, and today we're diving into the world of poultices. If you've ever wondered about natural remedies for soothing aches and supporting healing, poultices might be just what you're looking for. Poultices are traditional applications of natural ingredients applied directly to the skin to address various ailments. They have been used for centuries across different cultures for their healing properties. Research and anecdotal evidence suggests that certain poultices can reduce inflammation, alleviate pain, and promote faster healing. In this lecture, we'll delve into the science behind poultices, examine common ingredients used, and provide practical tips on how to make and use them effectively. So stay tuned to discover how this age-old practice can support your health and well-being.
And then when it goes on your hot body, that will thin the oil and spread it out a little bit more. So when you make a castor oil compress, so you're making the compress this big, you would put the oil on about this area here. And as it soaks through, it'll go out a little bit more. As it goes on your hot body, it'll go out a little bit more. And so that allows room for the poultice to take up the oil, because you don't want dripping castor oil. It's not very nice. And you always do that plastic backing that prevents the compress chilling with air getting on it, and it also protects your clothing. Because castor oil can penetrate deeper than any other oil, and because it breaks up lumps, bumps, congestions, adhesions, it'll break up tumours, it'll break up bone spurs, it'll break up any unnatural formation. But I've got some good news: it will never break up your bone. Remember Psalm 104 verse 14, where the Bible says God made herbs for the service of man? So the herbs come in and serve you. So they work with the needs of your body. If you've had a bone spur for 3 years, it may take 3 months of applying the castor oil compress, maybe overnight. Overnight would be about, as we've learnt this morning, 8 hours, is that right? So it might be overnight, or if it's another area where it might be uncomfortable to sleep with, you can wear it through the day and basically put it in your clothes. So I've seen many women conquer fibroids. We talked about that earlier in the week. Also cysts on the ovaries, breast cancer, lumps on the breast, by applying the castor oil compress. What is very easy with breast cancer is to buy the organic cotton panty liners and put the castor oil on that. It's very, very absorbent, and it has a plastic backing, and it's very thin. So it can be just slipped into your sports bra and basically worn through the day. One lady said, I just wear it 24/7. She said, when I found out what it could do, she said, I'm just wearing it all the time. I had a lady do our program, and she said, my husband's a doctor, I've got irritable bowel syndrome, and when I discussed it with my husband and discovered what they wanted to do, I decided to heal it myself. And I discovered castor oil. And she said I wore the castor oil compress on my abdomen. So if you're going to make a castor oil to fit the abdominal area, it would be about this big. Now when your towels are starting to get thin and a bit of holes in them, they're great for poultices. The toweling's absorbent. So the person would wear it on the area here for irritable bowel, also for constipation, because it penetrates deep. So it would be, say, hip bone to hip bone, pubic bone to belly button, about that area there. You could also apply it to the liver area, gallbladder area. That would be under your right rib, and that would be for gallstones. You could wear it behind where your kidneys are for kidney stones. You could wear it, some people put it on the abdominal area. Maybe they had surgery there a few years ago and they've got a bit of scar tissue build up. It's very good at helping to break up scar tissue. How long would you wear it for? As long as it takes. Just keep doing it. And little by little, like the dripping tap on a stone, it can break these things down. Now it's just, can you see that? So I can hold it up now. You see that soaked in quite nicely. So this might be used for maybe a bone spur on the wrist. That would be about a nice size. Because it's a compress and not a poultice, it's just a vehicle holding the oil to go into you. So you can reuse that again and again and again and again. You could use it for even a few weeks. When it's starting to look a little sad, maybe you'd make another one. You also get to know when it feels a little dry, so maybe every day you'll put, for this little one, you might just put 1/4 teaspoon on every day. You can also put it in the eye. Probably the easiest way is just to wipe it over your eye. It'll go through your lid and on your lashes. I was talking to a farmer. He's been working out in the bush for years. He said, whenever I get anything in my eye, just put castor oil in it. He said it soothes it and it seems to work its way out. It can also be used to break up cataracts. And I've had feedback from a few people who've been back to the doctor, and the doctor said that the cataracts are shrinking. So if you're unsure where to put it, just try. But remember page 127 of the Ministry of Healing. I love that page because it's a great description of what to do when you're sick. There she says, nature's process of healing and upbuilding is gradual. What is it? Gradual, and to the impatient it seems slow. I memorised that verse after I did a skydive with my daughter when I was 50 and didn't land right and was on crutches for 7 weeks. And every day I'd say to myself, nature's process of healing and upbuilding is gradual, and to the impatient it seems slow. But because of all the hot and colds and the poultices I did, I have absolutely not one dot of problem from that injury today. So that's castor oil. I think every home should have a bottle of castor oil.
Castor oil has a long history of use for various health and wellness purposes. It has been valued not only for its potential medicinal benefits, but also for its versatility in applications. Apart from being used as a compress or poultice, castor oil can be employed in other ways to support wellness. For instance, it is commonly used in massage therapy to relieve muscle tension and promote relaxation. Its emollient properties make it useful for moisturizing the skin, which can be especially beneficial for those with dry or irritated skin conditions. In addition to its topical uses, castor oil has been noted for its potential benefits when taken orally, though this should always be done with caution and ideally under the guidance of a healthcare professional. It can act as a mild laxative, helping to alleviate constipation. However, its use should be monitored closely to avoid any adverse effects. When using castor oil, it's important to ensure that it is of high quality and free from contaminants. Organic cold-pressed castor oil is generally recommended as it retains more of its natural beneficial properties. Also, while castor oil can be a helpful adjunct in various treatments, it should not replace professional medical advice or treatments. For any persistent or severe health issues, consulting with a healthcare provider is essential to determine the most appropriate course of action.
The next one we're going to have a look at is the onion. And as I mentioned earlier, these onions, did you see, I think they were harvested on Monday. They lay on the ground Tuesday. Very nice. And I have never made a poultice or what I'm about to do with an onion just picked. And I have a feeling that when I cut this onion up, I might start crying. Have you noticed onions don't make you cry anymore? That's because they're not organic and they've been irradiated and all sorts of nasty things. So there's two places where I'm going to explain onions. One is a cooked onion and one is a raw onion. The cooked onion can be used for an earache. What you do is you steam it like that. You keep the end in, you keep the skin on, and it'll hold it together. You steam it or you dry bake it. If you boil it, some of the healing properties will go into the water. So steam it or dry bake. When it's soft, you cut it across the middle. So what you're looking at is the rings. And keep all of these things together there because that holds it together. And then you wrap it in a cloth. It might be a tea towel, it might be a hand towel. And you put a few layers over it, which will calm the heat down, and you put it on the inside of your arm till it's the right temperature, and then you put it on the ear, and then you would put a plastic square over that. Or what did they do before plastic? They used little woolen squares. What I sometimes will do is put a woolen square over that, so what's touching you is the wool, and then put plastic over that. Plastic is just great at not letting any moisture out and preventing the poultice chilling. You can leave that onion on the ear as long as you can keep it warm. So you might bandage it on, you might put a woolen beanie over the top, you might decide to put the poultice on and have a sleep, and then you might fold up a towel 10 times and lay on that, but as long as you can keep it warm. It brings great relief because the onion is a drawer. When you've cooked it, you can squeeze some juice out. This is the cooked onion. It will be boiling, but the spoon is cool, so it'll make it the right temperature, and you can put that cooked onion juice into the ear. Often one application is enough to bring great relief. One of the staff, this is a few years ago now, she had earaches. She was putting 2 onion poultices on a day. She'd put one on for a few hours in the morning, one on for a few hours in the afternoon. The next morning the earache would be back, she'd put it on again. Now one would think after 5 days, is this really doing anything? Is that right? But you know, when you've no need for the onion anymore, the pain will stop. And after 1 week, she had no more pain. She has never had another earache. She had a lot of earaches as a child. And sometimes when there's a lot of earaches as a child, and a lot of antibiotics come along, they just sort of push it back further into the body. And sometimes the body has to go through a few things that was never allowed to go through as a child. Have great faith in this body because it knows what to do.
Onions have long been valued for their medicinal properties. The compounds found in onions, such as sulfur, are known for their anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial effects. This makes onions effective in addressing various health issues, including earaches. When used in a poultice, onions can help reduce inflammation and draw out infections or toxins from the affected area. In addition to their use for earaches, onions can be beneficial in other home remedies. For instance, onion juice is sometimes used to relieve coughs and colds due to its antibacterial properties. When applied to the skin, onion poultices may also help with bruises and sprains by improving blood circulation and reducing swelling. To make an onion poultice, start by peeling and chopping the onion. For a simple version, you can roast or steam the onion until it becomes soft. Then place it between 2 layers of cloth and apply it to the affected area. Always test the temperature before application to avoid burns. For those who prefer a more specific approach, mixing onion juice with honey can enhance the poultice's effectiveness. Honey adds its own soothing and antibacterial qualities to the mixture, providing additional relief and support to the healing process.
Now we're going to have a look at a family of the onion, and that's garlic. And garlic, and I think I mentioned this earlier in the week, it's 6 times more potent than tetracycline, which is a common antibiotic. To take it as an antibiotic, you really have to be taking probably about 4 raw cloves a day. And if someone has a bad cold, cough, flu, I'm going to write up on the board a recipe for the flu bomb. And they can take this, the flu bomb. And the flu bomb has 6 main ingredients. Number 1 is garlic. And I'm not going to put an amount there because some people can handle 2 cloves, some people can handle 1 clove. It's just whatever you can handle. And you either crush it or I have a grater here with a really fine grater. You could finely grate it there. The next ingredient is ginger. And usually it's about 1/4 teaspoon. And the ginger can be grated on that very small grater. The next ingredient is cayenne pepper. And I'm not going to put an amount on there because it's whatever you can handle. Some people can handle a light sprinkle, some people can handle half a teaspoon. It's whatever you can handle. Eucalyptus oil, and there definitely is an amount for this, 1 drop. All over the eucalyptus oil bottle today in Australia it's got poison. Do not take. That's because in about 1976 a little boy in Tasmania, have you heard of Tasmania? It's a little tiny island at the bottom of Australia. A little 2-year-old, I think, got into a cupboard and drank some eucalyptus oil and went into a coma, so they banned eucalyptus oil. How many people die from alcohol poisoning and they haven't banned that yet? There was such an uproar, so now when you buy it, it's got poison all over it. Just don't drink half a cup. Okay, we do have common sense here, don't we? So just 1 drop. And one lady told me, she's passed now, when I was 20, she was, I don't know, she's about 70. She said when she's a little girl and they all got a cold went through the kids, their mother would put a few crystals of raw sugar on a spoon and a drop of eucalyptus oil, and they all had to take that to help ease the cold or stop the cold coming. Lemon, if lemons are falling off your tree, you can do 2 lemons. If lemons are $1 a lemon, you might do half a lemon. So lemon juice. And 1 teaspoon of honey. Believe me, you could put 5 teaspoons of honey in that and it won't help. It's pretty strong. So just 1 teaspoon of honey, and that is all mixed in about 1/3 of a cup of hot water. And then, yes, you drink it. If someone's got a bad cold, they could take 3 of those a day, and that would be your dose of antibiotic. Usually by the 3rd day, you're over it. It's quite incredible when you've got a cold, it eases all the symptoms. Now for some people that might be a little strong on their stomach. Well, have a nice bowl of thick hot soup and then have it. Or have a dose of slippery elm. That will help your stomach to accept it. But what do you do for a little baby? You can't give them a flu bomb. What you can do is you can finely slice the garlic and wrap it on the bottom of their feet. Even though you can put the feet straight onto chopped onion, you cannot do that with garlic. The garlic will cause a blister.
For a baby, instead of using garlic directly, another method is to create a gentle garlic-infused oil. To do this, finely chop a few cloves of garlic and warm them in a small amount of olive oil over low heat. Allow the garlic to infuse the oil for about 10 minutes, then strain out the garlic pieces. Once the oil is cool, you can apply a few drops to the baby's chest or feet, being careful to avoid any direct contact with sensitive skin. This method provides the beneficial properties of garlic in a more diluted and safer form. Another alternative is to use herbal teas that are gentle on a baby's stomach. Herbal teas such as chamomile or peppermint can help soothe symptoms like a cough or sore throat. Brew the tea lightly and ensure it is well strained to remove any small particles before offering it to the baby. Always check with a pediatrician before introducing any new remedies to ensure they are safe and appropriate for your child. Additionally, maintaining a humid environment can also help alleviate respiratory symptoms. Using a cool mist humidifier in the baby's room can keep the air moist, which may ease coughing and congestion.
I'm going to show you how you can make a poultice with the ginger. And I'm going to be making a couple of poultices, but this poultice is particularly a poultice for joint inflammation. So think of ginger for joint inflammation. So this is for gout, arthritis, sore lower back, painful knees. And you grate it on this small grater here. I don't peel it, there's no need. In fact, I never peel it. And when I make ginger tea, I grate it like this and then I'll pour boiling water on it. It makes a very nice ginger tea. I like it because it's very hot. I had a lady who'd done our program and she had a very swollen finger. And she said to me that her finger had been swollen and painful for several months. And what do most people do if they had a swollen finger and it's painful and they can't sleep? Take a tablet, is that right? Does that fix the problem? Doesn't fix the problem at all. It's painful for a reason. And I think it was a little bit of gout, that's what it looked like. And she could not bend her finger because it was so swollen. So we made a very tiny little poultice. So what I do is I lay the plastic down and I grate straight into the cloth and spread it out. That's about how much I do. And then you fold it over. So you do north, south, east, west. And that's how you make your poultice. If you put it straight on the skin, you can imagine how messy that can be, and it's very difficult to hold it there. And so whenever your sheets get thin or your tea towels look like they're getting sad, you can tear them up or cut them up into poultices. So you can see how the juice is already coming out of that. So we made a little tiny poultice for her finger. So when you apply it, you would apply it like that. And you can see the plastic comes out about 1/2 an inch all around the poultice, and then you bandage that on. So the plastics, there's not very much touching your skin. Some people get the cling wrap and wrap it all around. I don't like that. I don't like the plastic on the skin. So I just put enough around the poultice, and then you bandage that on. I think you call it an ACE bandage, is that right? Bandage it on like that. Now I might be doing this for a swollen wrist, for a inflamed wrist, arthritic wrist. You might do it for all of that. And as soon as I've bandaged it up, I always lay my hand on it and I pray. I ask God to please bless the poultice, the ginger that he made, and the person that they might find relief. If there is inflammation in that joint, within probably 1/2 an hour the skin can get very hot. But it will never burn you. One lady said, "Barbara, it's getting really, really hot." I said, "That's great, because it appears that it will pull inflammation out of the joint to the skin."
This process can help draw out the inflammation and provide relief. It's important to monitor the area for any signs of excessive heat or discomfort, and if any issues arise, remove the poultice immediately. Typically, the heat indicates that the poultice is working effectively, but always ensures that it is used comfortably and safely. Once the poultice is removed, the area might feel a bit warm for a while, but this usually subsides quickly. It's a good idea to rest the affected joint and keep it elevated if possible to aid in the reduction of inflammation. If needed, you can repeat the poultice application as often as recommended or as necessary for relief. Remember, while this method can be very helpful, it's also important to consult with a healthcare professional for persistent or severe symptoms to ensure that there isn't a more serious underlying issue. Thank you for joining me in exploring the world of poultices today. I hope you found the information insightful and that it inspires you to try these natural remedies for yourself. If you have any questions or experiences with poultices, feel free to share them in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more health tips, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest content. Until next time, take care and stay well.